This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
It's time for the mailbag here on Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. We're going to get to all of your emails and let's jump into it. Not even going to waste any time. Let's go. This first email is from Mr. DJ Kuzmo. I figured I'd start the show a little bit differently and start with DJ. That's a joke. All right, DJ. So he says, hello, WWE and AEW podcast world. It's DJ Kuzmo back at it again. It's PLE time. I know I'm sounding like a scratched record every time I say this, but we miss both Mr. and Mrs. Casual Wrestling Fan. Hopefully you can return for the mailbag takeover for Crown Jewel or Survivor Series. That being said, here we go. Let's get into these. Kuzmo Fastlane prediction and potential spoilers. Interesting, there are only 5 matches on the card, but I have a sneaking suspicion there will be 6 come this Saturday night. The first, Lashley and the Street Profits versus the LWO, which you say is that Lashley and the Street Profits get the win to establish themselves as a dominant threat to whoever comes to the undisputed champions. It seems like Lashley and the Street Profits are on the same page after the Street Profits proved to Lashley they were worthy to be associated with him by attacking the LWO this past Friday. Plus, Lashley mentioned on Grayson Waller Effect that he had no interest in managing a town down under. Okay, and it's, as always with these PLEs, I can't really respond to them in a way that's going to give away my picks because that show will be coming later this week for my official preview and predictions. But I'll just say noted. Number 2, Io Sky and Charlotte Flair Io versus Charlotte versus Asuka for the Women's Championship. I'm not going to say that Io Sky retains, but the strange thing is, why did Bayley make this a triple threat and not another tag team match on the card? Damage Control is at a crossroads right now, and it will be interesting to see who leaves this group first, because I'm looking for a potential Io Sky and Dakota Kai face turn leading to a possible Io versus Bayley at Crown Jewel or maybe Survivor Series. Just a thought. Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting for Io Sky and Bayley for like 4 months, 5 months. It's been quite a while. I mean, we just keep on waiting and keep on waiting. And I think it won't be too much longer before Io Sky and Bayley take place one-on-one. It's weird, though. Does it not feel like Io Sky is not champion? She's kind of an afterthought. And I'm not really putting that on her. I'm putting this on creative, who make her a ringside figure and not anyone that's front and center cutting promos and feeling like they're the center of attention. It's weird. I mean, we're talking about Charlotte and Bayley, and yet Io Sky is the champion. It's weird. I don't like the way that they've presented Io Sky thus far, which is essentially a sidekick. Not good for your champion at all. But third, Cody and Jay versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest for the undisputed tag titles. I'm going to say that Damian and Finn retain the tag titles, but this match seems to be more about what happens next in terms of the storyline than about the tag titles. Plus, haven't we already seen a match of this caliber main event in an episode of Monday Night Raw? I'm just saying. Yeah, that's true. It seems like this match has already taken place. It does. But you're right. Yeah, this doesn't seem so much about the titles as it does about furthering the story of Jay. Can we trust him? Why? Can Cody trust Jay? What about Finn and Damian? Can JD really prove himself to Damian and help them retain? Like, how does that work? That's really what this is about, and not the tag titles. 4, John Cena and LA Knight versus Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. So you say that Cena and Knight get the win, but you don't think there will be any outsider interference or shenanigans. This story will continue with a returning Roman Reigns next week on Friday Night SmackDown and possibly a returning AJ Styles, setting up a potential 6-man tag at Crown Jewel. I don't disagree with your logic, DJ, but that's, to me, unacceptable. And this has been unacceptable for quite a while. I'm not saying you, I'm saying the fact that Roman's not there. I know that they'll say, oh, we've heard that so much before. Is it such a... Yeah, you're going to hear it, and you should hear it, because it's unacceptable. Outside of injury, there is no reason why Roman shouldn't be on more than he is. I don't need him every week, but this is egregious. And I'm going to continue to say it until the problem is resolved, whether he drops the belt or starts putting more dates on his contract. So, but the reason I also say it's unacceptable, not only because Roman Reigns is never there and it's just ridiculous, is I don't want him in any more tag team matches. He needs to defend the damn belt. No 6-man tags, no 3-man, 3-on-3s, no 8-man tags, no 15-man or 16-man tags. Can't have a 15-man tag. No Teddy Long specials. No. Roman needs to defend the effing belt. End of story. And it's got to be against someone outside the bloodline. AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns? Fine. Great. LA Knight versus Roman Reigns? Fine. Great. Randy Orton? Fine. Great. It cannot be any more 6-man meaningless tags where this belt that we're supposed to believe is the most prestigious of all time, and he's unified it 4 different ways, yet has 3 different belts for it, which is another, whole, just rant in and of itself. This is unacceptable. I don't need, if they put him in a tag match, it's also disrespectful to the guys on the roster. I've said this before. It's disrespectful because they can't incorporate it in their promos because Roman's not there to actually have a program with them. And again, it sounds like I'm ranting on Roman. He's got it made in the shade, bro. Like I've said that before. Good for him. He has got one of the best contracts of all time. 5, main event time. Seth versus Shinsuke in a last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Here is where we might get a possible 6th match after this. First, I'm going to say that Seth retains. After weeks upon weeks of Seth being attacked by Nakamura, Seth finally gets the upper hand in this last man standing match. Unfortunately, as I've been planning to mention since last month's PLE, here is where the 6th and final match on the card will take place. Damian Priest will cash in the briefcase on a beaten down Seth. The ref starts the match. Seth tries his best as the gullible babyface fighting champion to compete, but unfortunately, 1, 2, 3, Priest pins him to become the new World Heavyweight Champion, and we finally we can all see that the Judgment Day will have all the title belts, well, outside of the IC, right? Like, so IC is still out there, but sure. The hint of this possibly happening is what Seth said on Monday about the pressures of being champion and hinting that Fastlane could be his, quote, last ride. But not to read too much into the weeds of things. If the finish doesn't happen, then it is what it is. I like this, DJ. I really like this. You know why? Because you're the first person to bring up the briefcase, to me anyway, at least from what I've seen on social media. You're the first person so far, and maybe some of you in the emails after this have mentioned this, but it doesn't seem to be the general belief among fans that the briefcase is going to be cashed in. Isn't that the best time to cash it in? And you could also have a LA Knight Damian Priest match if you want to go there at some point. If you want to trade him to Raw after he wins the Rumble, maybe something like that. Having a heel champion is really the best thing you could do right now. And I understand we have Roman Reigns on SmackDown, but to be all intents and purposes, we have one champion because the other one's absent. And he's been absent for a long ass time now. So I like heel champions generally because it helps build babyfaces. Babyfaces don't generally grow as champion. They grow on the chase to a championship. So this I love. And because it's unexpected, it's not something we've been hearing a whole lot about. Like Damian, I've actually forgotten for a little while that he's the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. I've forgotten about it. It hasn't been at the forefront of my mind. That's the time to strike. I like this, and I like it a lot. This could be a bit of a preview of my thought of what this match could be. Love it, DJ. This is so you're signing off. Enjoy Fastlane. Have a great weekend. Absolutely. All right. And that Veer Mahan report will be forthcoming. All right. Let's talk to another patron here. And this is King Scully in the house. He says he's representing the UK all day. Hey, Matt, how you doing? Here's an idea for a way around the Rock Reigns designated match at WrestleMania 40. First, please get the title off Reigns now. It's ridiculous how this guy can be called the undisputed champion when he isn't around, never mind defending it. He's made the title non-existent. No one ever calls him out or demands a title shot. I'm going to be triggered to say the same thing I just did, so I won't, but 1,000% agree. Second, I do like Reigns. I like his character, but it's just insulting to us all. Agreed. 100%. Anyway, time to give you my idea. Remember where you heard it first. John Cena versus Roman Reigns at the Rumble for the title. John Cena. Yes, John Cena dethrones Roman Reigns to become the new champion. The Rock runs down to help Cena win the match after the Bloodline gets involved. Cena wins the title, therefore leading to a non-title match at Mania between Rock and Reigns. Personally, I wouldn't mind The Rock winning the title, as his last title run was pants. I'm guessing garbage. Is that UK slang for garbage? Trash? Anyway, he after he beat Punk lost it to Cena. It was disappointing. But let's say there is no title on the line between Rock and Roman. LA Knight wins the Rumble match, and then this leads to him facing Cena at Mania. They're currently working with each other now, and they did when Knight beat Miz too. LA Knight beats Cena at Mania, becoming the new champ. We'll leave it at that. This is as plausible as anything else. I really have no idea what they're going to do. There's some weird things going on that they need to establish now. Like 100%, is The Rock going to be at WrestleMania 40? If he is, then you got to start figuring that out now. Does LA Knight win the Rumble? If he does, is it going to be only for the world title, given that they probably want the title for Rock Roman? See, that's the biggest thing here. The biggest thing against this, King Scully, is that WWE, you know them. You've been a fan for a while, right? You know how they like to make things as big as possible at WrestleMania, and totally understandably so. Like, they should. But in this case, many of us believe as fans, including the title in this match, is ridiculous. But WWE doesn't see it that way. They look at this and go, how can we make this the biggest match ever? Why would we not include the title when it would make it bigger? And the fans, the argument against this is this makes no sense, because Rock beating Roman, even if he does as a shock win, is the wrong person. The definition of the wrong guy to win the belt is The Rock. Just for the biggest reason being, he doesn't need it. It's not made for him. I think the fans would actually resent that decision. And number two, the more likely scenario is that it's a tipping of the outcome that Roman Reigns retains. I mean, that's the most likely scenario. There's just no good reason you could give me for The Rock to retain or to face Roman for the title. So yours is fine, except the fact that you're running the risk of LA Knight versus John Cena at WrestleMania being the fans siding with Cena rather than LA Knight. See, you want a clear, very clearly defined heel against LA Knight. You don't want this wishy-washy, maybe, well, it's still going to give him the rub against Cena. I mean, look what it did to Austin Theory last year. It essentially tanked his 6 months after Mania. And that, a lot of it had to do with the way he won the match, which was ridiculous. He didn't outright beat Cena, and the fact they didn't do anything with Austin Theory after the fact. They just kind of forgot about him. So this is not impossible, but you know WWE is going to want to include the belt because that's what they do. And then in their mind, you can't talk them out of it. Including the belt makes it bigger. And in fact, it is the complete opposite. There's no good outcome that can come of the belt being included. No matter if The Rock wins or not, neither one is a good scenario. All right. Whew, I'm getting ramped up already. All right. Let's talk to Anthony Capella. So Anthony says, good morning from California. Drew mocking Cody's What Do You Want to Talk About in San Jose had to leave you laughing on Raw. After watching Raw, I've come to the conclusion that Roman's time as champ has been grossly overrated with 29 title defenses over 3 years. Underrated. Gunther's the ring general, or the ring general. I cannot wait until we get past this inevitable or invisible reign of Roman and Gunther becomes the top heel champion. I'll take his in-ring performance and mic skills over Roman's any day of the week. And seeing Rhea come back after 2 weeks was awesome. They can say there is no leader at all, but we all know Mommy is on top of the Judgment Day. My hot take for Fastlane. Seth Rollins wins and Damian Priest cashes in his briefcase. Oh, you guys are killing me. There you go. Wrecking Rollins in the process, giving him time to heal his back. Have a great week and keep up the good work. P.S. Get DeMarco to repost his After Dark from last week. Well, let me just say this. The After Dark is only available to patrons, as you know. So we're not going to put it outside of Patreon. At least right now, that's not the plan. So if you want to listen to Anthony DeMarco go off on a very non-PG show about things, then check out the Patreon side of things, guys. That's where you can listen to it. But now, yeah, 29 defenses over 3 years. Sounds like a lot. But a lot of those were front loaded in like the first year and a half, 2 years. The last 12 to 18 months have been abysmal. Not in terms of storyline. The Bloodline storyline intrigued us so much, or for so many months, and was the backbone of SmackDown for so long, and it was so good for so long. That's not the problem. It's just the problem's getting worse, not better, with Roman showing up. And I don't want to hear the excuses that it means more when he's there. Isn't it more special? We're so far beyond that narrative, or that benefit outweighing the negative, that it's laughable. That's not even in the equation for me anymore. Is it more? Do you pay more attention when he's there? Yes, but that's nowhere near what it used to mean of him not being there. Oh, he hasn't been here in 3-4 weeks. He's back. He's now taking plural months off. 3 to 4 months between title defenses. He hasn't defended the title against someone outside the bloodline since April. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Over 6 months since he's defended the title against anyone outside the bloodline. No one here can sit here and defend what they've done with Roman and how they've presented him and the schedule that they came up with him. It's ridiculous. And I don't want to hear, well, he built this into his... Well, how about helping build new stars? I know that Cody benefited from main eventing WrestleMania, even though he didn't win. I don't know. It's absurd. But as far as Gunther goes, I absolutely envision him as a world champion in the future, whether it's a world champion or undisputed. But you're not going to transfer the title from a heel to a heel. So until Gunther, number one, drops the IC title, and you have a long-standing babyface champion, you're probably not going to have a Gunther victory. It's probably not going to happen. You know, you don't want to transfer it from a long-term heel like Roman to another heel that would likely hold it for a while of Gunther. It's not the way that things are done in wrestling. It's not impossible, but it's very rare that they would do that because it's not as exciting. You're waiting for that big babyface to overcome the heel that's been the champion forever. Gunther is absolutely a world champion in the making. It's just that right now the scenario of who is world champion and undisputed champion, it just doesn't work right now. And he's having a hell of a run with the IC title. I would keep that going. You know, I wouldn't drop that IC belt from him until he's ready and the scenario is ready. And I guess the chips are in place for him to drop the belt and move on to the world title scene. So, yeah. All right. Thank you, buddy. Let's go. Oh boy, you guys didn't put patron in the email. So if I miss some of you, actually, let's talk to Bad Fish. I know he's a patron. So Bad Fish, he says, hey, WWE Mailbag family, it's Bad Fish representing the East Coast of Canada. Hope everyone is doing well. I just wanted to weigh in on the Edge topic. It reminds me of the old cliche phrase, I'm not mad, but I'm disappointed. I was listening to your current state episode and I agree with a lot of the sentiment. At the end of the day, it's his personal decision, and this may be selfish, but I feel robbed that his last match in WWE was with Sheamus on SmackDown. I wish we could have seen him and Cena at Mania, and they would have retired the night after, but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Perhaps that could still happen. We don't know how long his contract with AEW is. Maybe WrestleMania 41, after his contract with AEW expires, he has a quick 3-month run to build to WrestleMania. And if John Cena is still in shape in a year and a half and willing to do it and his schedule's cleared, they could still do this. You know, they're not going to be in senior living communities next year, but they're aging, let's be honest. And John Cena at WrestleMania against Edge at WrestleMania 41, bring it on. It's still possible. It just doesn't seem like it's in the cards at all this year. It seems like I think Edge, or rather John Cena, is slated for maybe a Cody Rhodes battle or an LA Knight battle or Seth Rollins. It seems like that's where he's probably headed. But yeah, having Edge's last match be against Sheamus on SmackDown, I understand for him what it personally meant, and a very feel-good, friendly competition in Toronto against one of his best friends of all time. I understand that. But let's be serious. As fans, it was a big womp moment when it came to what you imagine his career ending like. And it's up to Adam Copeland how he wants to end his career. And more power to him. Absolutely. We, as fans, we can't tell him how he should end his career. That's up to him. But it doesn't mean we don't have the right to be angry or disappointed. See, that's where Edge, or Adam, I'll just call him Adam because that's who he was speaking as. He wasn't speaking in the character of Edge. That's where Adam Copeland was wrong. And that we don't have the right to feel angry that he went to AEW or disappointed that he went to AEW because we're supposed to look at it through the lens of, well, it's another place for guys to go work, so we should care about that. And sure it is, but that's not our primary concern as fans, nor should it be. It's just a wonderful byproduct, but it's not our priority as fans. As shallow as that may sound, that's just the way it is. How could you not have anticipated the fans of WWE feeling like they were betrayed? I mean, I kind of land in the middle on this. I don't have a strong feeling of, oh, he betrayed WWE fans. I'm angry he went there. I feel mildly okay with it because you can still go watch Edge. And you can watch him in a even more free creative environment than WWE has been. So that's going to be fun. If you're a fan of Edge, you can still go watch him. It just won't be the controlled WWE version. If he ultimately lands in WWE to end his career, and maybe WrestleMania 41, then all's well that ends well. He will make his way back to WWE. Everyone finds their way back. He will. He left on really good terms. There's no bad blood there. He did what he had to do. He has a passion for this. So he will eventually come back home. My guess is he signed a 1-year contract. That's probably it. I haven't heard. That's not confirmed. That's my speculation based on his age. And he's thinking WrestleMania 41 to retire. All right. I also read a couple of interesting reports regarding this. Apparently AEW is moving their show next week to Tuesday night to rival NXT with Edge's first match. In response, John Cena and Cody Rhodes are both going to be at NXT. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Some view this as a petty move by WWE. I don't. It's just fun competition. And yes, AEW is competition for NXT. And for the company as a whole, they're a competitor. They may not be a super close competitor. They may not be actually threatening to put WWE out of business, which I hope never happens. I hope neither company goes out of business. But the fact is that John Cena, or rather WWE put John Cena and Cody Rhodes, I thought it was just Cody, but maybe they did include John, going to NXT next week to directly respond to AEW moving to Tuesday night with their show. And that's awesome. That shows that WWE may say they're not real competition, but their actions show differently. You know, outwardly they'll say all the things that'll tell you, if you took it at face value, that, oh, well, yeah, AEW is not real competition. That's the pissant company, as Triple H infamously said one time. And then at the same time, directly responding to it by having two of their biggest stars right now going to a show that they would never have otherwise been on if AEW didn't move their show to Tuesday. So it's speaking out of both sides of their mouth, telling you one thing, yet reacting with their actions differently. Lastly, apparently his daughter told him to go to wrestle. Lastly, apparently his daughter told him to go wrestle with, quote, Uncle Jay, which is Christian, and have fun. Being a dad, if I heard that, it would sway my decision too. All in all, I'm going to miss Edge in WWE. Well, that again, absolutely. I do not fault Edge at all. If he loves this, awesome. It's his passion. And if you're a fan of Edge, guess what? You still get to watch him. And you get to watch him unhinged. You get to watch him unleashed with no creative, stifling, holding him down. He can probably decide what he wants to do and not do. He's not that. He's a legend in the business, an absolute legend. He is. And he has, I would imagine, full creative control of who he wants to work with and who he doesn't. So if his daughter told him, I want you to go wrestle Uncle Jay, I'm sure that swayed him too. He's a dad. I get it too. I'm a dad too. And I don't fault him at all. And the alternative is, if you're strictly WWE, you only want to see Edge in WWE, well, what's the alternative? He wouldn't have come back to WWE. He's sitting at home. And then what? You don't get to see Edge at all. So now, whether you hate it or not, you're going to be watching AEW, at least the clips on YouTube, to see what he's doing. You just are. And that's smart on AEW, smart to bring him in. Edge has a large following. He knows he has loyal fans. And I do not fault him at all for this. I'm not angry with Adam Copeland at all. The only thing I took an issue with is his backlash to the backlash from WWE fans that are loyal to WWE and not AEW, that they were just disappointed and angry that he went to AEW. It's called brand loyalty. It's not a new concept in this world at all. It's been around forever. Brand loyalty is something that every single organization achieves for. Like, that's what they want to build with their customer base. That's what they want to build. I think I made this analogy on my show last week or earlier this week. I said, hey, it's like if you're a Red Sox or a Yankees fan, like I am. If say Alex Rodriguez, or even better, Derek Jeter in 2000, 99, 2000, during the middle of the dynasty, when they had those 4 championships in a row from 97 to 2001, or rather, no, 97, it was 96, 98, 99, 2000. And then they went to the World Series in 2001, lost in Game 7 in like the 9th inning. That was painful. And Mariano Rivera blew it in the 9th inning. Unbelievable. Anyway, baseball's another topic. But it would be like Derek Jeter going to the Red Sox in 2000, being traded there. He wants to go, the Yankees let him go. And then Derek Jeter goes to the Red Sox. And we're all of a sudden supposed to love the Red Sox because, well, your favorite player's there. It's like, no. Players, you can have a loyalty to players, but most of the time, the loyalty to the team is what you have. The loyalty to the team overshadows and outweighs the loyalty to any individual player. So, like, if Derek Jeter came to the Yankee Stadium as a Red Sox, I mean, imagine that in 2000, for those of you old enough to remember that rivalry. Think about that. That's what we're asked to do. And all of a sudden, Edge doesn't understand. He's like, well, if you want to see me perform, I'm going to be out there. Well, why is it WWE against AEW? It's like, no. You don't understand. It's like Yankees Red Sox to some people. To some. You change teams and we're supposed to just cheer for the team. That's not how that works. You're not bigger than the team. So those fans that are angry with you, it's about the team, not the player. I think that's where I took issue with, not the fact that he did what he did. I fully support him, and I hope he does well, and I hope he does find his way back to WWE. I have no issue with it. In fact, in the same scenario and circumstance, I probably would have done the same thing. But when he starts hitting back at the fans who are hitting him for going to AEW, it is a lower promotion in all of the metrics, from revenue to TV ratings. It just is, but that's okay. They're closer than they otherwise would be if they didn't have as much cash as they did with Tony Khan. So they're still competition. But I just took issue with the way he responded to fans. I think his concept of brand loyalty is a little skewed, and the fact that he is perplexed by the backlash is that's what I took issue with. All right, let's continue. And let's talk to Spencer. He says, let me talk to you. I've been thinking about Roman's recent work schedule and amount of title defenses he's had over the past year or so. It's obvious that fans are getting annoyed with how little he defends his belt and how rare it is to see him on SmackDown. But do you think this is all a part of WWE's plan to turn the crowds on him even more? It seems like the fans are always split on cheering and booing him when he actually shows up. Maybe creative wants to push Roman into a space like Dom, where he is the most hated wrestler in the building. That would set up a huge match against the top babyface, and the crowd reaction to him losing the belt would be a pop we haven't seen or heard in a long time. Let me know what you think. Spencer from Little Rock. Well, Spencer, I have to actually disagree with you on the fact that him not being there would make people boo him more. That probably is not the case, because if you're live in the building and Roman Reigns is there, now you feel like you're at something special. You feel like, oh, wow, Roman's here. Oh, my God. Wow, he's actually here. No way. And it feels more exciting because you feel like you're a part of a bigger moment. So I think that actually will have the opposite effect. If he was there every week, there's more of a case because people will get tired of seeing him, start booing him, like we've heard from you. So I think that fans live, when they're in the building, will have the opposite reaction and they'll probably boo him depending on what he says. But initially the entrance is it has a lot of positive sound to it, I have to say. All right. Thanks, Spencer. Let's hold on. I know we have another patron here. I want to make sure I get to that individual. And it's Charlie. And Charlie F says, let me talk to you. This is your boy, Charlie from Milwaukee. So WWE podcast listeners, I can't say these next words, Charlie. I just can't. I can't bring myself to do it. It's the words that Cody uses for every time he comes out. I'll just say that. Let's talk about everyone's favorite politician, Cody Rhodes. Let's talk about how much Cody not only acts like a politician, but acts like one too. All he does is shake hands with fans, kiss babies, and has influence on who gets sent to different brands. Every time Cody comes on my TV, I immediately hit the mute button. Apparently, he thinks everyone is there to make people happy. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out on Monday and says, I am in the WWE and I put smiles on people's faces. That literally gave me secondhand embarrassment, Charlie, just to say that. If he comes out and say, I can actually see him doing that. He's not above saying that. I mean, to say that you're there to make people happy is one of the worst things I've ever heard a babyface say in my entire life. Since 1997 watching wrestling, it may be the single worst thing I've ever heard a babyface say, including all of the blunders from Roman Reigns' big dog babyface run of 5 years. It's just, it's cringe, secondhand embarrassment, awful. It tells you how out of touch either Cody is on what makes a babyface really widely supported or creative. Whoever came up with that was just, it's pitiful. But if he comes out and says that, he's not above that. That's in the realm of possibility. You know, I'm there to put smiles on people's faces. My God. Also, a quick shout out to Kobe Cheese 77 on Discord. I wish your Lions good luck tomorrow. Tomorrow's Lions versus Packers game will definitely be close. That statement's not going to age well. This was sent, of course, on September 27th, so about a week ago. But also, Matt, you already mentioned what some of your favorite Dolph Ziggler moments were, but what are some of your favorite Shelton Benjamin moments? Mine would have to be the super kick heard around the world from Shawn Michaels. Thanks, Matt. Keep up the good work. Yeah, that's exactly what my mind went to, was the super kick from Shawn Michaels on Raw. One that was part of the Raw Open forever in the mid-2000s and late 2000s. It was just, oh my God, yes, that was one, absolutely. And honestly, him as part of the Hurt Business, you know, he was significant in that. It revived his career, you know, so... all right, Charlie, thank you so much. Let's keep going here, and let's talk to Sam. And Sam says, is it fair to say the last 9 years of WWE could be called the Roman and Brock era? Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, certainly the Roman era is one that is accurate, but it's also hard to say it's the Roman era when the person you're naming it after isn't there. So, and Brock Lesnar, we thought Brock Lesnar was an absentee champion. It feels like he was working full time compared to Roman Reigns, does it not? I mean, yeah, it's not unfair to say that. Roman Reigns, even before this whole run with his heel turn, which was more successful than anyone could have ever imagined. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair assessment. He was, you know, successful even well before this. So it absolutely could be that. Brock and Roman saying it's their era. I think that's a fair assessment. All right. Let's keep on rolling, baby. You know what time it is. See what I did there. All right. Let's talk to John. And John says, if and when Alexa Bliss returns from her maternity leave, where do you see the WWE taking her character? The last we saw of her, she was wrapped up in the Uncle Howdy mystery, and with the tragic passing of Bray Wyatt, it seems highly unlikely that they'll continue down that path. Do you think they'll continue with her spooky character, or perhaps return to her to some prior iteration like the Goddess? Or do you see her fitting into the current how do you see her fitting into the current women's landscape? Well, John, I don't see her returning to that. It's sad that we never got to see what that was leading towards, with Alexa being re-entered into the darkness of Uncle Howdy. Remember that? Before she went out and Bray was floating out there, but not yet returned, or rather fully engaged with Alexa, we were wondering where that was leading. And it's sad we never got to know where that destination was. I would imagine it was supposed to be back with Bray Wyatt, but I think that's dropped. Once she returns from maternity leave, I think she goes back to being not the Goddess, but probably a more mature version of her character, a more reality-based version of herself. That's what I want to see. I want to see the real Lexi Kaufman, you know, what that is. I don't want her coming back and putting her hair in pigtails and calling herself the Goddess. And it's like amateur hour stuff. Like, that's what you call yourself in, you know, like in NXT to get yourself started. You need some kind of gimmick. It's very shallow. We don't need a goddess. All right. Bring back Alexa Bliss. Maybe give her a different look if she wants to cut her hair, not shave it like some women, but like Shotzi. But she just should show some kind of evolved version of herself, whatever that may be. But where does she fit in? Contender for the women's world championship, or contender for the WWE women's championship, but ultimately probably not champion. And I hate to say that, but that's based on the last several years of her inconsistencies in the ring. Even when she was with Bray Wyatt, she was barely in the ring. She was just sitting backstage on a playground set, spinning riddles and trying to be spooky. And then she brought the doll. Remember that? Lily? I mean, they were never consistent with her at the top of the card, at least in the last 5 years. So I have my doubts that they would put a belt on her. Thanks, John. Good question. Alrighty, let's continue on with our next email. And this one is from Frank. And Frank is a patron. And he says, let me talk to you since Jade Cargill signed with WWE. And there might be a chance she goes against Rhea Ripley. Would that be a good match? And all, but what about Becky and Rhea? I think a good starting match for Jade would be against Raquel Rodriguez or Nia Jax. So, I mean, the money match, in my mind, is not against Nia Jax. Nia Jax she's a perfect introductory counterpart to Jade, because Nia Jax are building up as a monster. Nobody can stop her. She's dominant. Rhea took her down a little bit this week on Raw, but I think that Jade Cargill coming in and taking down Nia Jax is probably a good introductory one. From there, she can go up in quality. I mean, let's be honest. Rhea Ripley is a better wrestler than Nia Jax is. It's just fact. And the same with Bianca Belair. I mean, when I look at the possibilities, Jade Cargill, if I'm talking WrestleMania, is probably one-on-one against Bianca Belair. A match that we thought we would get for WrestleMania, by the way, was Rhea and Bianca. They teased that even the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania this year, but Jade throws a wrench into this whole thing. Raquel Rodriguez, absolutely, but she's not a big pay-per-view main event with Jade. Also, they'd probably have to turn Raquel heel because Jade's coming in as a babyface, you'd imagine. Okay, you also have a question. If, say, Cody and Jay win the titles, do you think he'll turn on Cody since he's part of the Bloodline? And if the Bloodline want to get those titles since it's Jimmy and Solo, since Roman's going to be back on the 13th, do you think he will talk about The Rock or LA Knight? When do you think The Rock will show up next? I mean, first of all, I don't think they'll win the belts, but it'd be a great way to get Cody and Jay onto SmackDown. But I don't know if we don't need to see more of Jay against the Bloodline. Okay. And Cody, sure, it's been 6 months since he's battled Roman, but I think there's more stories to tell with Cody right now. And, there's other fish to fry. Now, when do I think The Rock will show up next? Probably after Survivor Series. That's my guess. Let's see. Patreon member, one more thing. I forgot on my previous email. During Fastlane, there's interference on Cody and Drew coming out and attacking Cody that could set up for the next PLE. Cody and Drew, thanks. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think that that's one of the reasons why I don't think Cody's going to win the belts is because he needs to stay on Raw right now exclusively because he has a program with Drew that's waiting to happen. The little comment that Drew made at the beginning of Raw this week was a big hint that that's probably where they're going next, which means Drew needs to turn heel quickly. I know they're doing the slow burn, but maybe it's got to speed up a little bit. All right. Thank you, Frank. Let's get to another patron. These are coming in as I'm recording this, so the patron's a little bit out of order. I apologize. I'm recording this as you guys are sending them in a little later than when I'm recording the show. So, all right, this is from How Sam. This is I hope I pronounced that right. Smoke DZA. How about that? I'm awful at pronunciation. So he says, "Hey Matt, had Habane as Smoke DZA on Patreon for the longest time, and honestly can't remember why I made a username of that rapper. I just only kind of changed it back now to my real name, Husam. I'm going to guess Husam. So hopefully I said that right. Either way, do you think that WWE wants Roman to pass Hulk Hogan in terms of longest title runs, given that many controversies Hulk Hogan has put up with it in the WWE through the past. Admittedly, I can't stand the racist SOB that is Hulk Hogan, so part of me is okay with Roman barely wrestling so he can knock Hulk Hogan down a peg. The thought being there that anytime a longest title reign conversation is had, Hogan's name would no longer have to be uttered. Well, his name will never go away. I don't care how many people pass him, his impact on the business, no matter his personal, flaws and the things that he said in the past, which were, pretty bad, right? Like, let's be honest. And he's tried to make amends for it, but the fact is, it is what it is. His legacy will stand forever. And Roman likely will pass Hulk Hogan, I think, because now we're getting into rarefied air with Roman. So I think that is absolutely a strong possibility. But your wishes and hopes and dreams of having Roman be completely erased and not be a part of the conversation anymore it's never going to happen. He is woven into the fabric of America. When I say American folklore or American culture, it's going to take many, many generations before his memory is erased, and the people of that current time don't remember him, or that kind of thing. So it's your wishes of that is not going to probably come to pass for many, many, many decades. And with digital media and all that kind of thing, like, things last forever, and things are only evolving more with technology. So his enshrinement in professional wrestling is probably never going to leave. Just sorry, but welcome, and thanks for writing in. Okay, let's get to Charlie. I know, so I think I answered an email from you earlier, but you sent in a newer one, so I'll read that. And you say, it's Charlie from Milwaukee. Turns out SmackDown in Milwaukee will be a 2-part episode. I assume it's because of Crown Jewel the following week. So not only will I get to see the greatest WWE superstar of all time, John Cena, but probably Roman Reigns, or as I can call him now, Bruno Sammartino 2.0. Well, you don't have to call him that yet. He's only barely halfway to Bruno Sammartino's record. So not yet. With Edge now in AEW, do you think Edge will come back to WWE? I could see him coming back for the Royal Rumble in 2025. He could have a tag team retirement match with Christian. Yeah, I as I said before earlier in the show, I think that my guess, and this is nothing that I have confirmed or anything else, this is just my own brain, would think that at his age, he probably signed a 1-year contract thinking that, okay, my contract expires October 1st, 2024. That would give me enough time to come back to WWE, set up a match or a short program to roll from, like you said, maybe Rumble into WrestleMania. I hope it's against John Cena, but if he wants to do a tag team with Christian, I don't know his contract status. I think that would be fun too. But ultimately, I think he does find his way back to WWE. It's his home. The guy, it's his home. Okay. And no matter how many times we may think, oh, he's done, he's not coming back. As I've said, they all come back almost all of the time. Right. So I think that's a very, very distinct possibility, and probably the most likely scenario is that. All right, let's continue here, and let's get to, actually, well, you still have more. Also, I know you're a diehard Yankees fan, so this question is for you. Who is your favorite Yankee and why? But seeing I'm a diehard Brewers and Red Sox fan, I would have to say Mickey Mantle. Okay, well, I'm going to pretend that I wasn't born in 1930 so I could see Mickey Mantle. I'm only going to go with the guys that I've seen. The core four for me is, if people don't know what that is, it's Andy Pettitte, Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera, and Jorge Posada. The core four that really were the heart and soul of the Yankees teams that won, 4 championships in 5 years, from 96, 98, 99, and 2000, nearly 2001, if it wasn't for literally one pitch away, and maybe even in 2003, where Mariano Rivera blew the 2004, when he blew the ninth inning rally the Red Sox pulled together when the Red Sox were down 3-0 in an ALCS series, and magically, improbably, were brought back to life in that series. A tragic year for Yankee fans, one that we wish never happened, that broke the curse. You couldn't have written a better story there, but 2003 was a sweet. The year before, of course, in 2003 with Aaron Boone and that home run was euphoric, and then 2004 was just complete tragedy if you're a Yankees fan. Now, of course, if you're a Red Sox fan, you're saying the complete opposite of me, right? 2003 was absolutely a dagger in your heart, and 2004 was euphoric, but as far as Yankees, man, I'm going to go with the core four. I know you're looking for a singular player. Derek Jeter's the obvious, easy, pedestrian pick, but the core four: Pettit, Mariano. I'd say Mariano. If I was going to pick one guy, it'd be Mariano, right? Enter Sandman. That'd be my guy. Professional, the best closer of all time. Without question, the single best closer of all time. Even though he blew 2 massive games that could have led to championship victories, he still was the greatest of all time. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Yankee fan. If you look just at the statistics of him in clutch situations, his ERA, his strikeouts, the length of time he was the closer, he'll never be duplicated. He was a gentleman off the field, on the field. There's not a bad word spoken about Mariano from anyone. Again, it sounds like I'm biased, but even no matter what fan you are, whatever team, even if you're a Red Sox fan, you have to respect Mariano Rivera. Hey, maybe I should start a baseball podcast. If I had the time, I would. All right. Where the heck am I? We have, for the listeners, final here. With Edge and AEW, for the time being, what are some of your favorite Edge career moments? Some of mine would be the spear on Jeff Hardy at WrestleMania, which was lucky enough to be in attendance for. Hope everyone has a great rest of the week, and always go Pack Go. Good question. So everybody, there's your homework assignment for the week. What are some of your favorite Edge career moments? All right. Oh boy, where are we going? Let's talk to. We only got 3 emails after this, and they seem relatively short. So let's go here. Darren, he says, "Hey WWE podcast family. So Matt, it sounded like you issued an open challenge to the listeners to talk about the situation that on men not retaliating on women. So I'll accept the challenge." Woohoo! I throw in a cheering, soundbite if I could. So hallelujah, let's go. I agree with you that it has gotten ridiculous, especially with Rhea Ripley. In that tag team street fight with Judgment Day, when they won the titles, Kevin Owens made it back to the ring after a swanton bomb through a table in the crowd. But he didn't get up after Rhea speared him. I'm not saying go back to the days of like when Bubba powerbombed Mae Young off the stage, but the female wrestlers nowadays are so much more athletic than back then. They could take a stunner or a super kick or something if they start a fight. And if not, then yes, don't have the females touch the men at all. Thanks, Darren. Oh, okay. I thought you were going to challenge my narrative that men should be able to retaliate, but you're agreeing, but to an extent that they shouldn't go back to having 80-year-old women be powerbombed off the stage, as much as all of us found that absolutely hilarious. And the crowd cheered for it. I'm not advocating for that either. I'm not advocating for even unprovoked violence against the women in WWE and storylines. It can be done. I think it'd be very effective if, say, you have a couple that are, on air, a couple, and or maybe backstage, and it just got brought on camera, and then you have a male wrestler hit their finish on that person's wife or girlfriend. It can be very effective. Case in point, Stone Cold Steve Austin, when he stunned Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H and Stephanie were married at the time in real life and on air, and they had a stipulation leading into their match that they couldn't touch each other, and it really heated things up. And I believe it was the No Way Out 2001. So really just it can be done. I don't think they're going to go back there, but the point is, to yours as well, if the men can't retaliate and just have to cower, why are we doing this? Women empowerment? Like, how is that empowering women? What is that teaching women, right? Like, that they can just do anything they want, be hit. They can just, attack whoever whenever, and then they're learning, oh, well, I'm a woman, so I can kind of do what I want. No. Equal protection under the law. I'm a big equal protection under the law guy, right? Like everyone treated equally, fairly. And this logic applies here. I'm not getting political or anything. It's just kind of a very common sense principle. I think everyone's treated equal. So if you're going to attack somebody that can easily whoop your ass, wouldn't it be the smartest thing not to do that? But WWE has taken a different approach of a shield is immediately activated around any woman who attacks a man. Can't do it. Ridiculous. But thanks, Darren. And thanks for attacking the subject. I didn't think anybody would even touch it. You are the first person that I can recall in recent memory to even touch this topic, because no one wants to. I think the thing is, and I'm not saying I have an inflated ego. I really don't think I do. To be totally frank with you guys, I don't. But I will say, I think I'm right on this, and most people know I'm right on this, but don't want to touch it because of the culture we're in today. I mean, that's just how I think it is. And that's the one principle about the show, guys. We shoot it straight, man. We don't have an agenda. We don't just say things to get clicks. We are 100% authentic, and I think that it comes through here. Love it or hate it. And boy, do we have a lot of people that hate me. It's cool. Actually, I got to say, I really feed off the people that don't like me. It doesn't even, it used to bother me years ago. I don't even care anymore. In fact, I kind of get energized when people send like negative reviews or whatever. Oh, you don't need to, lower yourself to them. You can, but I like responding to it because I double down on whatever they don't like. I don't know. Something's wrong with me. All right, let's get to a couple more here, and then we'll get to the voicemails. Zach. So he says, I've been listening for a few months now, and I must say I'm a big fan of the show. I like how you have the mailbag episodes and listeners get to throw out their opinions and ideas. I've heard of things that I never thought could be a possible outcome. But one thing I haven't really heard anyone speak on is the fact that WrestleMania is a 2-night event. Since The Rock made his appearance, I'm sure we can all agree that the match that everyone's talking about is the match with Roman, and that's skyrocketed. And everybody is in a gray space right now with how they think this will all pan out. But to me, the answer is right in front of us. With Mania being a 2-night show, whether we love it or hate it, makes the solution a much easier decision to make. I personally think whoever wins the Rumble, Cody, Knight, or Randy, if he's returning, faces Roman on night 1 and gets the win. Then on night 2, it's Roman versus The Rock. Feel free to flame me if you think this is a terrible take, but it's something that I feel is 100% on WWE's radar. That's all I have. Thank you for the hard work and keep it up. Thank you, Zach, so much, and I'm glad you enjoyed the show. I'm not going to flame you at all. Again, just like so many other ideas, I'm not going to sit here and make fun of it. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh my God, that's ridiculous. Because WWE has done a lot of things that I thought they would do and have done the opposite, and I look like a fool. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff. And I've been watching wrestling for 25 plus years. You just never know what they're thinking. You don't know what the creative has in store. You never, ever know. Until it actually happens. And so you're proposing Roman Reigns eats up both main events. I would say no to this. The reason is you just introduced a World Heavyweight Championship for the very purpose of trying to quiet the fans that are complaining that Roman's never there. He's an absentee champion. And I think it would do the World Heavyweight Championship no justice, and it would be really counterproductive to put the World Heavyweight Championship aside for the pure just star power of Roman Reigns. I think that would be foolhardy to do. And also, if Roman Reigns, not you foolhardy, but if WWE is presenting this, I don't mean you specifically, Zach. If WWE does this the way you're playing it out, say they do this, and Roman Reigns loses, right? He loses the title to Cody or to LA Knight, then 2 problems with that. Number 1, that means that Roman Reigns would have, actually 3 problems. Roman Reigns would have eaten up both main event spots, which I think a lot of people, including not just the fans, but in real life, everyone backstage would be like, a guy that's never here eats both nights of the main event. I mean, let's be real here. That's a problem on a real life level and on a fan pro storyline level. Number two, Roman Reigns working both nights would, I think, it would kind of dilute Roman and Rock. Because if Rock loses, or Rock wins, rather, you could say that, well, Rock was facing Roman, who just went through hell the previous night. If you're going to do Rock Roman, you got to make sure both men are fresh. There's no excuses. This is once in a lifetime. We're not doing a rematch. There can't be any excuses. There's also the potential of injury, right? So if Roman Reigns potentially gets injured the night before, you could potentially, totally throw a wrench into Rock Roman the next night. And lastly, having The Rock or having Roman Reigns, lose the belt the night before, in WWE's eyes, I think the way they view Rock Roman, you would be taking away from Rock Roman on night two. Like, you'd be like, oh, cool, we have a new champion, but, oh man, I was hoping The Rock and Roman would have a belt to fight for. Some fans would think that, but I know WWE, they want to make this as big as possible. As I've said so many times, they just can't see the forest through the trees. They think anytime you add a title, it's bigger. It's a very flawed logic for the reasons I've outlined before. And so I don't think they're going to do that, but it's in the realm of possibility. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. They definitely value Roman's time, and he can absolutely perform. But there's a lot of real life things going on there, and also the perception of what Rock Roman would be on night two. But if your goal is to get the belt off of Roman, anoint a new champion, and also have Rock Roman not for the belt, then there's your solution, right? Is that worth all of the negatives I just laid out? That's for you to decide. And WWE. Thanks, Zach. All right, two more. This is from David, and David says, I have an off-the-wall scenario involving The Rock, and the more I think about it, the more it could be done. And the WWE are big for giving us the off-the-wall storylines. So here it is. What if The Rock signed a mini contract and won the Universal WWE Heavyweight Championship from Roman? Then come out the following Friday and declare he's the head of the table, and he'll put the bloodline back to the way it should have been. Plus, Paul Heyman was Rock's mouthpiece before he was Brock's. If this happens, it'll mess with people's minds, and they'll not know how to react with The Rock turning heel. People complain a lot that the WWE is so predictable, but this is the curveball no one would see coming. You did say that you wouldn't want The Rock back, even for a short run, but even you would be hooked. Well, sure. I mean, it's something no one would see coming. Absolutely. I would be watching it, but the bigger question is, it's not that would people watch this and be intrigued. I think the more important and overarching question is, just because they can, doesn't mean they should. It's the old line from Jurassic Park. The scientists were so, obsessed with if they could, they never stopped to think if they should. It's kind of like that. I mean, that's the movie I was thinking of when I spewed that line out. A movie from 1993. But that to me is the bigger question. Sure, it'd be intriguing. Rock signs a mini contract. He turns heel. Maybe they flip Roman babyface. That's a lot of moving parts. And I don't think it's something people want to see. It's kind of like turning Austin heel. Nobody really wanted it. It wasn't nearly as successful as they hoped it could be or should be. And it didn't work out generally. So I just think while it would be intriguing and something no one expected, that's about the only positives, because the massive negatives is, while people would watch, I think they would eventually tune out and go, I don't want to see this. This is not the version of The Rock I want. It's unexpected, but just because it's unexpected doesn't mean it's automatically great. So sure, they could do that, but I'd advise against it, because I don't think the general audience wants that. Outside of just, yeah, cool, it's something different, it's unpredictable. Again, I have said this since I think I started the podcast. Predictability is not bad if it's the right thing to do. Now, you can, in an ideal scenario, when everything is working great in pro wrestling, it is unpredictable and the right thing to do. That's a more difficult combination. So I'd rather have it be a little bit more predictable and I kind of saw that coming, but it is the right thing to do than, oh, wow, I did not see that coming. And I think this is a bad choice. Do you know what I mean? There's a difference there, and I'd rather choose the former. All right. So yeah, it would mess with people's minds, but that's about it. All right. I'm one for being excited that Jade Cargill is coming to WWE. I actually prefer dominant females over those blonde Barbie dolls. Jade reminds me of Shaniqua back in the day. Remember her? She used to manage the Basham brothers and feud with Rikishi and Too Cool. It's too bad that her talent was underutilized. In fact, I'll pay for it underutilized. I'm not sure what you mean. In fact, if she's around now, I'll enjoy seeing a Shaniqua and Jade Cargill match, especially since their body types are the same. Here are two attachments of them together in person. Well, I'll take a look at that in a second. What about also Jazz? Remember Jazz? Yeah, Jazz was well before her time, that's for sure. Now, as far as Nia Jax, love her or not, she's doing everything what the WWE wants to have her do as a heel. And that is by getting massive heat. Whenever Nia comes out, the boos and the "you suck" chants are deafening. I think it may rival Dominic. If you're a heel, then you're doing your job. I do agree that she needs to work on her promos and in ring, but that's what developing your craft is for. Until next time, man. Well, thank you so much, Dave. And yeah, the difference though with Nia Jax is, and I know I've battled so many people on this, but there is a difference between the heat that Dominic Mysterio has, that you love to hate him and you genuinely want to see him get his ass kicked, and the heat that people just don't want to even see you. And I know people are saying, well, if they don't want to see you, if they literally just booing you because they just don't want to see you, isn't that heat? Isn't that the heat you want? No, it's not, because people, it's on a more like kind of real basis. Like, I don't want to see you. Like, just leave the company. We genuinely, as a person, don't want you here. And I think that's the that's the heat that Nia Jax generally gets. I can feel it from the crowd. Like, she is bad on the mic right now. But like, Nia Jax has never been exactly a wordsmith when it comes to cutting promos. She just isn't. So she could work on that. And I just, right now, you see her, and even when I see her on TV, I know hey, DJ Kuzma, I know you're a big fan of Nia Jax. Okay, cool. We all love certain people that a lot of people don't. It's all good. And I know other people that listen to the show. I'm not trying to discourage you from liking Nia. But what I will say is, when I see her on screen, I groan. I just go, I literally, that's the kind of sound I make audibly. I sit there and I go, I think that's like verbatim. Like, I don't want to see her. She doesn't interest me. It's not that the injury thing is a problem for me, or that I go, oh, is she going to injure tonight? Like, yeah, that's a funny running meme on her, and there's some validity to that. But generally, I just think she's an uninteresting character. Sure, she looks different, and that's helping her. She's not like most girls, pun intended. But I just don't find her interesting at all as a character. The best way, guys, if you don't want Nia Jax to even be there, and I'm not advocating for her to be fired, just don't make any noise at all. Okay? Because WWE's philosophy is, if they're making noise, they care. As long as they're loud. Okay, so here's a cheat code. If you actually don't want to see somebody, don't boo. I'm talking like genuinely, not like, hey, cool, I love to boo them. They are, oh man, I can't wait to see a babyface get to them. It's going to be a great match when so-and-so is with so-and-so. No, don't make any noise. Be silent. Sit on your hands at the events. Okay? That is how you remove people from storylines. You be quiet. Okay? All right. Well, thanks, David. And I do see the pictures here. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, well, so it's Jade here, and yeah. Oh my God. Okay, yeah. Wow, I had completely forgotten about Shaniqua. Good stuff. I don't know what she's doing now. I have to say, I haven't seen that face in 20 years. Good stuff, man. But I love it. And Jade Cargill, boy, is she gonna be a star. I mean, she's got everything. Everything. All right. Final email. Let's go. It's Jackson from Melbourne. And Jackson says, hey, mate, Been a while since I've wrote in or listened to the podcast. Took a bit of a hiatus. How dare you? This podcast should be your number one priority. You need to put this podcast above your children, above your family, above your finances. It's inexcusable. All right, so let's go. I'm in a weird mood. Just wanted to let you know that I'll be attending Elimination Chamber next year in Perth, Australia, and I'm super excited for it. And I'm considering I've only been to one house show in 2013, and that's it. Oh my God, dude. Okay. Then you're in for a treat. Well, I can say with high confidence, without even knowing what the card is, it's 4 months away. You're going to have an absolute blast. It'll be something you never forget. And I'm not trying to get you too hyped up here, but the rumor is right now that the Undertaker is going to be there. I don't know what his role is going to be. I don't know if it's for a one-man show he's doing there, or if he's actually going to be involved in the event in some kind of, not in a match, but in some, outside kind of way, or just make an appearance and chokeslam somebody. But Undertaker is going to be in the vicinity, from what I understand, whatever that means. Also, it's rumored that The Rock is going to be having a match, if he's facing Roman at 40, having a match prior to that, probably a multi-person match, tag match, something along those lines, against the Bloodline at Elimination Chamber that leads into WrestleMania 40. So you could be in, and I'm not trying to hype you up. Oh my God, he really is going to be there. This is just what I'm hearing. I'm not in WWE. I don't have an inside source in WWE. I'm reading all of the same things you guys are. Okay, so take that with a grain of salt. But even if those two things aren't true, you'll still have a hell of a time, because it's WrestleMania season. I mean, things are going to ramp up massively after that pay-per-view. So I'm jealous, and that's awesome. Anyway, regarding WWE, whilst I had been up and down, feelings about Raw and SmackDown, I'm overall happy with the direction. With the competition of AEW, it seems they're actually trying and putting forward their best stuff nowadays in their, quote, down periods of wrestling. With that being said, I recall you not watching NXT, and I don't know if you still don't, but if you're not, you need to be. Even with what's currently going on in NXT with the main roster, people coming down, and especially Cena, Asuka, etc., and Cody now. It's the best wrestling show week in and week out. I would prefer to watch it over Raw, SmackDown, and AEW on a weekly basis. Anyway, cheers, mate. Have a good week. Well, you too, buddy. And I hope, whatever you're doing, that it's going well, and, try to bring wrestling back into your life. Not even this podcast, seriously. I mean, because wrestling takes us away. It takes us to a place we can just enjoy, forget things that we're all dealing with stuff, right? And I have no idea if that's what you're talking about here, but just generally speaking, right, guys, it's an escape, and a healthy one, I think, versus other activities we could all be partaking in. So, I will say that it's not that I've never had anything against NXT, never. I massively support it, and I totally understand why people watch it and why I should be watching it. It comes down to time. The time that I would dedicate to watching it, I would actually be at my actual job. Okay. I go to the office 3-4 days a week, and then I'm home, but I telecommute. Like, I have 2 kids. Like, it's literally just time. I don't have the time, but what I could say is maybe I can start watching at least highlights, something along those lines. And you are doing exactly also what WWE wants us to do in using the big names to try to lure fans into watching the shows. And it's not deceitful. It's a true marketing strategy that is sincere. I mean, if you're not going to watch Cena or Cody or Asuka or Becky on NXT or Dominic on NXT or all the stars they've rotated through NXT over the last several weeks and months, that's a heck of a reason to watch. So it's not deceitful at all. I'm not saying anyone's trying to deceive me. Oh, you should watch because of this. No, I agree. I should be watching, and I wish I could. But I'm going to make a concerted effort to at least watch a little bit more of the highlights on YouTube or, something like that. And I agree. So thanks, Jackson. Alrighty. Is that it? Wait a minute. Because you guys have several sources here. No, we got one more, and this is quick. I checked my last source on Gmail here. This is New York Kyle. You are a patron of the show, so I apologize. Try to send it to mailbag at wwepodcast.com. This email I still do check, but that way it's all in one place. Okay, so it's New York Kyle back for Fastlane predictions. Here's Kyle's Fastlane predictions, and we're going to dive right into voicemails, guys. First up, Ray and LWO versus Bobby and the Street Profits in a 6-man tag team match. I think Bobby and the Street Profits win, but Ray won't get pinned since he's the United States champion. John Cena and LA Knight versus Jimmy and Solo. I think John and LA Knight win, and LA Knight will pin Jimmy Uso. Io Sky defending the WWE Women's Championship in a triple threat match against Charlotte and Asuka, which I think Io retains by pinning Asuka because we all know Little Miss Invincible Charlotte can't be pinned. Next up is Finn and Damian Priest defending the undisputed tag titles against Cody and Jay, which I think and hope Judgment Day retain because, like Matt, I cannot stand Cody Rhodes. And finally, Seth Rollins defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura in a last man standing match. I think Seth Rollins will retain. That's all, everyone. I hope everyone enjoys Fastlane, and I'll talk to you next time. Well, thanks, Kyle. Difficult for me to respond because I have my own show responding to these and giving my own predictions, but I think a lot of yours are going to line up with mine. Let me just leave it at that. All right, let's just roll into the voicemails here, and let's get to the Veer Mahan reports with Mr. DJ Kuzmo. Here we go.
Podcast world. This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Recording to you live on a Wednesday morning, on a kind of a foggy, misty Wednesday morning. But before we get to the Veer Mahan report, I gotta talk about what happened this past weekend in the world of pro wrestling. We had an incredible NXT No Mercy. Great matches. None other than my guy, Trick Williams. Whoop that Trick. Became the North American champion, defeating Dirty Dom Dominic Mysterio. But unfortunately, he did drop the title back to Dom last night on NXT with some help from his friends from the Judgment Day. But whatever the case may be, NXT No Mercy lived up to the hype. It was a great show. But I got to talk about what happened this past Sunday. We had the debut of Adam Copeland in AEW. Are you kidding me? The music hit after the match with none other than Darby Allin and Christian Cage, who's doing some great heel work in AEW. Here comes Adam Copeland for the save. Oh my goodness, the pop was amazing. I'm so happy for Adam Copeland. Know a lot of people are still a little bit pissed that he's in AEW, but hey, guys, enjoy wrestling. This is a win for us fans who love pro wrestling. This is a win for the pro wrestlers like Edge, who still wants to continue wrestling. It didn't look like he had anything left to do in WWE. He did everything that he could in WWE. Now he has a chance to go up against some new feuds, have some new matches with guys like Kenny Omega, like guys like Jon Moxley, probably have a match with his buddy Christian Cage. And hey, why not have them come back together as a tag team eventually down the line? But this is a great opportunity for Edge. I'm so happy for what he has done for the past 25 years in WWE. I don't know how many years he's going to have on AEW, but this is some exciting times to be a pro wrestling fan. Whether you're an AEW mark, whether you're a WWE mark, or whether you are a pro wrestling fan like myself, great times are ahead. I'm so happy for Adam Copeland, aka Edge. Let's go, baby! Now, let's get to your favorite show to come on every single week on the Mailbag. I'm talking about the Veer Mahan Report. Now, the Veer Mahan Report took place this past Monday night on Monday Night Raw, live from San Jose, California. And yet again, we still have not seen the appearance of the Indus. Hopefully, they will be back very soon. I don't want this team to break up. Now, with that being said, this is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Have a blessed week. Be kind to one another. Stay healthy, my friends, and peace.
Hey, DJ, yeah, I wouldn't lose hope about the Indus. They had something good going. Jinder Mahal was a great mouthpiece. Everything was clicking. They just kind of, I think, put it on pause, and I'm really not too concerned yet. It's not like they got released or anything, so I'm okay with it for now, but I do want them back. Now, yeah, the whole Adam Copeland thing, I really just, I've already explained everything I think I can about it. I appreciate your opinion. I'm with you. I mean, like we should appreciate it as fans. If you're a fan of Edge and you don't care necessarily about brands, then you should enjoy this. But if you're a brand loyal to WWE, and there's nothing wrong with that, even though Edge thinks there's something wrong with that, then you're not enjoying this or you're angry. But you just realize also there's more to the story than just Adam Copeland decided to go with WWE or AEW, not WWE. It takes two to tango, right? He can't just decide singularly to just be in WWE. It has to be a mutual agreement. Maybe WWE had no plans for him and said, hey, Adam, listen, here's what we're going to offer you. It's not as much as AEW and we don't have a ton of creative for you. What the hell is he supposed to do? So it's not just a total singular decision on Adam Copeland's part. WWE has to also be on board, and apparently they're not. So, all right, DJ, thanks so much. Let's go to our next voicemail.
So, WWE Podcast Mailbag. What do you want to talk about? This is Jason from Eugene. What I want to talk about today is the Judgment Day. I've just been thinking how great it is for Finn Balor to have gold on it. Like, he really has been energized by those tag team belts. And when he comes out with just that smug smile, he is doing an amazing job with gold. Just makes me wish he had beat Seth. It's just, he's doing awesome. And just love to hate Finn, and he's doing great with the gold. But I think when I saw that Money in the Bank briefcase turn purple, it made me think we really need to see all the Judgment Day belts go purple. It would be a great opportunity to take those red and blue tag team belts, combine them into one purple belt, because it's so stupid to have two belts. And then let Rhea turn her belt purple, because it makes no sense for those the wrong colors on the Raw and SmackDown women's belts. Just give her a purple belt. Anyway, great job, guys. God bless. See you later.
All right, well, Jason, hey, listen, I'm not opposed to syncing up a single belt for the tag titles. It's like the one championship that was unified that has yet to actually be unified physically. It makes no sense. It's got to be a pain in the ass for the wrestlers to say, hey, like, carrying around those two belts all the time, it actually has to be a pain in the neck. So I'm all for it. Plus, so it actually makes sense color-wise. What do you get when you combine red and blue? Yep, that's what you get. So that, to me, it makes total sense. If they want to make the tag titles purple, sure. But I don't know about turning every title they have purple. I'm not a fan. Here's what I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of the wrestlers feeling like they're above the championships, meaning the championships are customized to who's holding it. Outside of nameplates, I'm okay with nameplates. But outside of that, I don't like the spinner belt that John Cena is probably the most egregious example. Now, the hemp belt that Daniel Bryan introduced it made sense for him because he was a heel, that he wanted to do that because he's all, earth conscious and all that kind of thing and environmentally aware. Fine. But even The Fiend did it. And that, to me, I didn't like it because I felt like it was a marketing gimmick, and it tries to put the wrestler above the championship, and no wrestler, I don't care who you are, is above a championship. They're just not. So that, to me, I'm not a fan of it because of that. However, I understand why you would do it. It's a nice look. Everyone's purple. But I just that since my principle is that I don't want any wrestler above the belts, then that's not something I would do, but I understand why you would. But all right, let's keep going.
Hey, it's the Waz. It's been a very long time since I called in, but I consistently listen to you guys, mainly the Raw review and the week review. Just a couple things. I am in the same place you guys are about Cody Rhodes. I'm over it. I'm over the swarmy attitude and smile that I just want to slap off his face kind of thing. I'm not happy with what they're doing with LA Knight. I don't want him to face Roman that quick because I know he's going to lose. I want him to take it from him. But, of course, it's probably going to go to Cody, unfortunately. I really do hope that The Rock is going to end up fighting Roman and that it's a reasonable storyline to tie it all in. Seems pretty easy and obvious, but sometimes the WWE does not do what's easy and obvious. Speaking of Roman, your comments about Paul Heyman, I've been wanting to call and holding off about calling about it, and wanting to call and holding off. You keep making these comments about how he's not using his iPhone, that's what it looks like, correctly, because he's not speaking into the speaker. Well, I use my iPhone pretty regularly, and even when I called you guys, I just held down the side button and just said, call WWE Podcast. I didn't talk into the speaker. I just said it with my hands stretched out, and it still worked. It doesn't matter if he's speaking into the speaker or not, as long as he's holding down the button or he says something to it, which I know he doesn't, but that's not the point. I don't think he needs to speak into the speaker. So maybe that will help you to not be so angry with Paul Heyman. Anyways, keep doing what you guys are doing, and I hope The Rock does come and take down Roman, maybe force Roman to turn face. We will see. Thanks again, guys.
Waz, it's good to hear from you, man. I haven't heard from you. It's been quite a while. I don't even know the last time I talked to you, but it's good to hear that you're still listening and that you took time to call in. So I think I should clarify. You're right. You can talk into the top of your phone. In fact, I think there is a microphone built into that top of your phone, depending on what model of iPhone you have and that kind of thing. But most iPhones at this point in our lives that people are carrying around have a microphone actually built into the top of the phone. It's not just at the bottom. But here's the thing. While it still would work, it looks ridiculous. It still looks like you don't know what you're doing. I'm sorry. It just does. Because the idea that the speaker is at the bottom of the phone, that's where you speak into, it's something that still exists today. Even though it would, I agree, it would work. It does work. So is he actually using his phone the way it's meant to be, that he could complete a call or make a call the way he's doing it? Sure. But it looks ridiculous. It just does. I don't know too many people that use their phone like that. I just don't. Especially the way it looks. Most people put it up to their ear, or they actually speak to the bottom of the phone. So just from an optics standpoint, it looks like you don't know what you're doing, because you hear with that part of the phone. And sure, there's a mic built in, but it just looks ridiculous. It just does. It's like somebody taking a picture with their iPad. Even it does work, sure, but it looks ridiculous. And it's just the way it is. Two things can be true at once. So I get it, man. I get it. No, you're right. It does work, but it just looks silly in my mind. Thanks, Waz. I'm not trying to insult you. It's just the way Paul Heyman does it looks just like you don't know what you're doing. It looks like all of us millennials who have parents that have iPhones that are always asking us how the hell to use this thing and what do I do, and like they don't know what to do. It looks like that. It's like not Gen X. That's the new Gen. No, is it Gen X? Yeah, Gen X, the generation before us. Just there's a lot of them are technically challenged because they didn't grow up with this technology, so they always do things that are just look silly sometimes. All right, well, let's get to our next one.
Axe the French guy here, the rated R superstar Adam Copeland, not Edge anymore, is AEW. I mean, I like AEW a little bit, you know. I prefer WWE as a lot of people, you know, but MJF being there, Christian being there, now Adam Copeland being there. This is completely crazy that we think about that. Like, Edge is typically the WWE guy, you know. Before WWE was to WCW, however, we would never picture Edge going somewhere else, you know, especially given the time that he remains in the business, because I think even with AEW, he still has like 2-3 years max, you know, and this is completely crazy. Everything is possible in wrestling. CM Punk going back to WWE is possible. AEW is possible. It's great day to be a wrestling fan since you have now competition, good or bad, but having the choice is really nice. That's it for today. Bye, guys.
Hey, Alex, it's a reasonable response. I mean, I don't know what more to say to that. You know, I prefer WWE too, but that doesn't mean that I hate AEW and I wouldn't watch them because I watch WWE. There are some people like that, and that's the key difference is I don't fault people for that. You know, I don't care, you know, or I don't care. It's more that I understand why people are brand loyal. And shouldn't WWE appreciate that? You know, shouldn't Edge appreciate that? But, you know, it's another place to go and watch Edge if you want to watch it, or Adam Copeland. And there were major developments, by the way. I'm not going to spoil anything with Christian Cage and Edge on AEW tonight on Dynamite. So I'll leave it there, and I won't say anything else. But check it out if you're interested in such things. So that said, thanks so much, Alex. Let's get to our next one.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore. So I wanted to just talk about the entire, I guess, the women's division itself right now in terms of how very, I guess, for Becky being on NXT, I personally enjoy it. I don't know if I get my takes on that of her being on NXT. I personally enjoy it. Her match with Tiffany Stratton last week was really fun. That was another great match for Becky that I've seen this year. I think Becky has turned on some great matches this year. You know, her feuds have been not all that great, but I was like, in the ring itself, Becky's been putting out some great matches, and so another great match from Tiffany, and I'm looking forward to this match with Tegan Knox next week because she was supposed to face Tegan on Raw last night, which didn't happen, but hopefully next week they'll do it, and I'm glad they're building up Tegan Knox as well. I'm kind of glad to see more of her on TV, so I'm happy that she's getting her time to shine. Hopefully they can continue featuring Tegan Knox way beyond the Becky feud and whatever if it ends up being a feud between the two. But we'll see more Tegan Knox. But the point is that I thought the No Mercy itself was really good, and I enjoyed Becky's title run and see how it lasts for the last. But looking forward to it and seeing the development from Tegan Knox as well as a character. So that's my 2 cents on this week. But that's it. This short call. Bye.
Hey, Kyle. So I'm glad you're enjoying Becky in NXT. I think it's going to be a great long-term strategy for her career. Not that I'm saying she needs to stay in NXT for that long. I'm saying that it's good to revive her. It helps her build new talent and work with new talent and draw eyeballs to the product. It's a smart strategy by WWE, and I'm sure Becky Lynch is looking at it as a breath of fresh air. Going back to where she started, I hope she's not taking this as a demotion. It's more of a detour than a demotion, and it should help her recharge her batteries. So when she comes back to the main roster, maybe she does feud with Rhea Ripley. Maybe we finally get to that program. Rhea Ripley's got a long list now of opponents that we need to get to. Rhea Ripley has not had a proper program yet. Raquel Rodriguez is about it, and that barely qualifies. Natalya doesn't qualify. She just doesn't. I'm sorry. Not at this stage of her career and what we kind of understand Natalya is. A gatekeeper veteran that's respected in the locker room. That's kind of what she is. So, that's just what it is, and I'm with you. You know, I think that Becky Lynch there is going to really help, and with Tegan Knox, again, you're a Tegan Knox fan. You should appreciate, even though she's going to lose against Becky, you should appreciate the fact that she's working with Becky to get the eyeballs on her to establish her, as you said, even after the program and after she loses. That's the key. So thanks, Kyle. A couple more.
Hey everyone, what's up, people? It's New York Kyle again. So I'm sorry it's pretty loud right now. I'm at work next to the highway. But so I saw Edge is in AEW now. Adam Copeland. So I sent him my Fastlane predictions for the Mailbag takeover, Mrs. Tyler Orphan fan. I already sent the predictions in. I did forget to ask them in the email though. I'm curious what their thoughts are on him going to AEW. I already know Matt and Anthony's thoughts. Personally, I'm excited because I'm just a big Edge fan, but at the same time, I listen to Matt and Anthony on the current state. I understand why they don't seem too happy about it, though. I still understand why. I am personally excited. I'm a huge fan of Edge, but I understand why you two aren't too thrilled. I get it. Anyway, since I put a bunch of wrestling stuff in the email, there's one thing not wrestling related. I'm gonna say it right now. I promise it won't. I promise next call I will talk more about wrestling. But this needs to be said. If anyone's a GTA fan, like me and like Matt and myself, if anyone plays GTA online with their friends all the time, like me and maybe Matt, if anyone's beating the GTA 5 single player story mode, like me, I got news for you. GTA 6. Although we've heard so many times this year, and the last 3 years, that GTA 6 is coming this date, GTA 6 is coming that date, the real trailer will be this date. Apparently they're saying, there's leaks and reports going around that apparently the first trailer for the game is going to be releasing October 29th. So I'm looking at it as I'll believe it when I see it approach, but just remember that date. All right, that's it. Hope everyone enjoys Fastlane. Talk to you all next time.
New York Kyle, hey, you are bringing some important news to the podcast. All right, and let me just say before I talk about GTA, I don't dislike him going there. I just want to clarify. I don't dislike it. I actually understand it. And given his situation for money and passion and realizing your clock is ticking and you're in shape right now and you're not injured and you're, all that, do it, man. Go. I wish it was with WWE. I wish he could have a fantasy storyline going to WrestleMania 40 ending with John Cena. It's not in the cards, apparently. And he has to do what he's got to do. Support his family, make money. Hell yeah. Good for you, man. Do I like it? No. But I have no ill will towards Adam Copeland. Now, as far as GTA, yeah, it's been 10 years, as we all, painfully know, those of us that are also GTA gamers or just gamers in general, it's been a decade since GTA 5 came out, and they're still squeezing money out of that cow. It's amazing. And it's still a really good game, but we all know the footage that was leaked, the gameplay footage, the beta, it wasn't in final release mode, so the graphics aren't as good as they will be when it's released, but all the leaked footage that came out last year really was crazy. But I believe you that it is October 29th. I mean, it's been 10 years exactly. It's nice, symmetrical. It seems like they're getting closer to releasing the game. It's got to come out. I mean, it's coming. It's coming. And this is probably going to be the only GTA game on the PS5. By the time they release the next one, it'll be a PS6. So, yeah, I don't disagree with you that it's October 29th. I hope it is. And I'll just say this. Even those of us that hate gaming or don't game, it's going to be in your face. That is going to be probably the single largest viewed trailer for a movie or a game in like the last 10 years. It's going to be everywhere. That trailer is going to blow up in your face on your news feed. So I'll hold you to it, Kyle. It's kind of like predicting the world's going to end on this date, that date, that date, that date passes. Oh, well, it's really this date. Oh, this date passes. Well, I meant it was this date, right? It's kind of like that, but I trust you. All right, let's get to our last one.
Hey, Matt, this is Randy from LA. Calling today for a couple things. First question that I have is, I'm not sure if you've heard, Cody Rhodes is going to be giving a major announcement next Tuesday for NXT, and wanted to see if you think that major announcement has anything to do with another trade, with him using his political powers once again to make some sort of swap, something maybe like Baron Corbin and Booker T for Kevin Patrick, something like that. And I don't know. I think that would be a fair trade. But anyways, just want to see if you think it has anything to do with Cody and his superpowers. And then the other question I have is, recently Cody mentioned during one of his promos that the Roman story, the Bloodline story, is well past the third inning. And you might remember Paul Heyman doing an interview a couple pay-per-views ago in the post conference, saying that they were only in the third inning, and now Cody's saying they're way past the third inning. Do you think that was a hint that Cody's the one going to SmackDown, and that Roman's going to drop the title very soon, since they're way past the third inning, possibly maybe at the Royal Rumble, and then that'll get off the title off of him, and then he can go and do his main event with The Rock at WrestleMania and not have any titles on the line All right, just wanted to see what your thoughts on this. All right, Matt, have a wonderful week, man.
Good questions, Randy. Hope you're doing well in LA there. And what do I think Cody's major announcement is? It's probably whoever's going to be traded to SmackDown from Raw. It could be himself. Maybe it's that. But that's probably what it is. If he's there to announce just some random tournament or something, he is on NXT, so it kind of lends things to believe it's about NXT. And it's not about himself, but either way, it's annoying to me that Cody's grubby hands are in everything, and he's doing he's in every storyline. He has to be the savior for everyone. He has these quote unquote political chips he's cashing in. He's kissing babies, and as Batista hilariously said one time, kissing babies and hugging fat girls. Remember that when I think Batista said that about John Cena. That was one of the funniest lines Batista ever said, and I think it was off the cuff. But that's essentially what Cody's doing. So what do I think the announcement is? It could be the announcement of the trade of who's going to SmackDown. That's probably what it is. Or maybe a new talent coming to WWE. Maybe he's announcing Jade Cargill himself. I mean, WWE isn't putting anything past Cody. He's got too many. He's wearing too many damn hats. But that's possible. And as far as your theory of, well, not theory, but your observation of Paul Heyman saying they're only in the third inning, and then Cody saying they're well past that. Sure, it could be a bit of a hint that Cody says, no, you think we're in the third inning, but I'm about to make it the ninth inning, something like that, where I'm going to take the belt and the game's going to be over. Sure. But Paul Heyman saying it's the third inning is concerning if you are a bloodline hater or Roman hater of him keeping the belt, because that would really suggest that they are nowhere near the end of Roman Reigns' run. I mean, the third inning, if you're talking about baseball, is only a third of the way through the game. So maybe he meant third quarter. Maybe I would take that if you're talking about NHL or even NFL, third quarter, or NBA. Third quarter is acceptable. We're like, oh, okay, we only have one more quarter, unless you're in the NHL, of course. But that to me is what would be more acceptable. But he was very meticulous on what he said, and it could mean that Cody wins the Rumble, or wins at the Rumble, takes the belt from Roman, and then faces Seth Rollins, or Drew, or LA Knight. But I think LA Knight is going to get his title shot sooner than later. The chips, there's so many moving parts. It's difficult to keep track of. So many moving parts, but it's going to be a lot of fun to watch play out. All right. Thanks, Randy. Thank you, everybody, for calling in. And this mailbag was a lot longer than I thought it would be. I got to be honest. I thought it was going to be a lot shorter looking at the stuff that came in, but I ramble, and you guys have a lot to say as well. So I appreciate it. And if you guys want to go ad-free, patreon.com/WWE podcast is the way to go. You can also check us out on Apple Podcasts ad-free, or wwepodcast.com, and go VIP there with all the ad-free content. We do have an exclusive After Dark adult version of this show, hosted by Anthony DeMarco, where he gives us an opinion on a topic or two every single week. That's for the SmackDown tier and above. I'd encourage you to check that out. And that'll do it for me tonight. And I'll be back in a couple of days with my official preview and prediction of the Fastlane event. So look for that. And until then, take care. I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to wwepodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.